I played Tomb Raider 1 for the first time in 2024, and it's my first time playing a full Tomb Raider game in general. I played the demo late 90s, so yes, I was aware of Tomb Raider and eventually saw the movie. Tomb Raider was a big deal, well aware of it. Played the demo, and it definitely was attention grabbing to have a young lady going around wielding guns, going through adventures, climbing those type of things. Because even when I played the demo, my mom came in the room and was like, "Hey, who's that girl with the ponytail and the guns running around the video game?" It captured interest, even for someone that's not going to be playing video games. So it was definitely a big deal and a part of pop culture. All I did was play the demo back then because it wasn't exactly my style of game, but I respected it. Saw the movie, looked cool, but in terms of the way it handled and things of that nature, and at times well, probably the frame rate to some degree, and it being kind of janky in movement wasn't necessarily for me. Yes, it was the '90s, and for this type of game, hey, it's innovative, but it's not the first 3D game I was playing. If I was in an arcade playing Daytona USA or the Tekkens or in the Virtual Fighters and the Virtual Racing, other games that were even 2D games, the performance level is much higher. So, so for people that say, well, different time period, blah blah blah, people didn't care about performance. Yes, they did. Because if the performance didn't matter, the 32X would have been successful. But it had bad performing games on there, especially bad performing 3D games. It is what it is. But nonetheless, I played this for the first time, 2024, and it's a pretty solid game. It did have performance issues at various parts, especially the cistern level. It was really, really bad. But other than that, it was okay. I like how they had Laura's house as a section at the beginning to get a feel for the game to some degree, but it didn't necessarily tell you how to jump from lower to higher points in the game. So I had struggles at one particular point, Saint Francis Folly, where you had those big, tall columns, square columns with bird faces on it. Had jumped a spot on the wall. Well, I kept running into the wall. I didn't realize stand at the edge and jump up to get higher. Didn't necessarily realize I had to look that up. Coliseum, I felt it was kind of cheap in what you had to do because prior to that point in the game, you flip switches, doors automatically open. Looked it up, say, hey, it's tied to the door. I didn't look up the code, but then I realized, hey, on, off, three in the same direction, two in a different direction, or whatever combination of the on off switch to open up that specific door. Cool. Then I had to look up at the end what to do with those lead bars, because even though I ran across Midas room earlier, I ended up turning Laura into gold. From her, at least her feet area, she gets stuck and died. There's no indication in that final run we put the bars in, they need to turn the lead bars into gold bars. Ended up looking that up. And at other points, I'm running around thinking I got to climb up something that aqueducts when I really had to open one of those 5 doors and go to that point. Okay, all right, that's what it is. Notably, where else? Natla's Mines, and I had to move some Natla's boxes in one of the rooms. I didn't know that. I'm running around trying to figure out where to go next. Looked it up and said, hey, this is where you gotta go. But one of the boxes might look darker or something, and you can move that and find a switch. And another area that I felt was cheap and I had to look up was some part, I can't remember the exact part, but maybe right before some type of pyramid part. I had to move these blocks on different floors. And the thing is, I had to go to the bottom floor of the last section move that block out just so I can move another block into that space from a different level in that game. There's nothing intuitive about that. There's no other precedence in the game that says, hey, you move this block into the space of another block. It's just something kind of cheap. That's not really part of the game's strategy before and or after that point, really. But a lot of these things were put in the games back in the days because guess what? In addition to selling the games, you had official strategy guides and you had hint lines that would be listed in the manual. And when it comes to Tomb Raider 2, which I haven't played yet, they put the hint line right under the disc. So you know that game's going to be harder. And that's part of the way they make additional money. You put in some cheap things or things you're not necessarily going to find intuitive, sell it in the strategy guide. Put some secret rooms in the game, sell it in the strategy guide or the hint line. In terms of fighting, it was pretty fair, but I did look up something in the Atlantis part because I didn't have any more health left, so I needed a way to get through that. Got burned up all my health because it was so plentiful at a certain point. But then by that point in Atlantis, when I got to this hallway, hey, guess what? I had to look it up, and the strategy guy had to deal with it, and I learned about jumping side to side and shooting at the same time. And I don't think he was able to learn that in Laura's house. So that was I could say, an advanced kind of strategy that maybe you should figure out, but it really wasn't necessary at any other point in time until I got low on health. I played, well, I'm on chapter 15, the last one, the Great Pyramid. I haven't completed yet, but I completed 14 out of 15, and I'm able to speak on the game. Solid game. Some cheap stuff in terms of, hey, where you gotta go, but you know, that's part of the business model of it. It's a kind of solid game in terms of platforming and lining up the jumps. It kind of artificially slows you down a little bit, but I'm able to appreciate it much more nowadays when I take my time to play through the game. I'm not necessarily need to play all or mostly arcade type games. So I appreciate it, and I've played through the Uncharted 1 through 3, and you can see how it influenced that as well, and how Lara Croft was, hey, doing that before your Nathan Drakes of the world. But yeah, it's a definitely good thing to play. I know they had the remasters on Switch and things of that nature, but I really want to get that feel on the original PlayStation 1, especially since I played it in terms of the demo back in the day. And well, in this case, I'm playing on a PlayStation 2 Slim, but you know, same thing, nonetheless. So yeah, good quality game. I look forward to trying out number 2. I've seen reviews for number 3. I even tried the demo for number 3 on the Tomb Raider 2 disc. Really wasn't feeling the controls and the camera angles, and I don't think that's probably going to be a game for me. But I will finish up this Tomb Raider 1. I'll try Tomb Raider 2, and I might get into the Legend Underworld Anniversary thing on a PS3 at some point. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, solid game to this day. I played PS1 back in the day, so I'm accustomed to the graphics. And you put it on CRT type of TV, it'll probably be better looking for you, things of that nature. But yeah, I appreciate what it was, what it did for gaming. It's kind of like a Tetris of these adventure type games. Simple, kind of blocky with the puzzle solving kind of thing, and you just make it happen. You do the platforming, you do a little bit of fighting, you find the secret doors. It's good stuff. Some of you all probably want to try it on the Switch, but hey, it's definitely a game you should try. And at certain points, hey, guess what? Look up some hints, tips, strategies, or what have you online if need be. But try to push through it as much as you can. But if you run around for an hour, just go ahead and look it up. That's how I feel about Tomb Raider. Played the first time, 2024. I dig it. Cheap stuff, but I understand why. Way to sell strategy guides, way to have you call the hint line. Iceberg Jim out. Deuces.